Do you know how powerful you are?
Welcome to Rise Urban Nation.
Welcome everybody to Rise Urban Nation.
Reshaping and elevating your mindset to help you achieve what you believe.
Sometimes we don't even see our own greatness. You can't be what you can't see.
And connecting Black cultures to build a community of talent and success.
Black people need to realize that they are assets. You are an asset.
When we rise, you rise.
Come together as a group.
This is Rise Urban Nation with Terrell Simmons.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. In a place to be. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rise Urban Nation. It's your host, Terrell Simmons. Man, I can't believe it's December. We almost at the end of the year, and it's time for that holiday shopping. Next thing you know, we're going to be celebrating the new year, making those New Year's resolutions. What's your New Year's resolution? I don't know what mine is yet, but I hope it's to have another amazing year with all of you. And we got some special things in store for the year. I'm excited about all the conversations we have and partnerships that's going to be built so that we can bring some actual resources to all my community, all my Pan-Africans all across the diaspora. Let us go. We're about to do it real big in 2022. Anyways, let's get into this next guest that I have, SF Banks. I don't want to give it away because he kind of tells us what that all means, and I don't want to do the spoiler alert. So why don't we do this? Why don't we just jump into the episode, and I'm gonna let you experience it just like I experienced it for the first time. Without further ado, SF Banks, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Rise Urban Nation. I got a special guest in the building today. SF Banks is in the building. He's going to tell us how to free your mind, get your money banks up. Now I'm just putting all that in there. I'm putting words in his mouth, but I'm gonna let the bag. Get the banks. And for those of you, I'm gonna get this recorded, and one of these days I'm gonna get the visual experience for y'all. He got a nice little wall on the back of we'll talk about that a little bit later. But SF Banks, how's it going, brother?
Man, it's going great. Bro. How are you?
I'm doing good. So now you gotta tell us what's the SF in SF Banks? What does that stand for? Like, how did that come to be? What is it?
Man, the SF stands for Shaun's Free. And that was what I created out of it. My older brother Mike used to call me SF all the time when we were kids, and he still calls me SF. You know, he's like, SF, what's up? SF. And I don't really know where he got it from, but it was always SF. Maybe because I was rocking the Giants as a kid. I was in love with Barry Bonds, you know. And but it stands for Shaun's Free. Shaun's free from just suppression of any kind. Shaun's free from, having to follow any set of rules that society says you have to follow to be able to enjoy your kind of life. Mm-hmm. Shaun's free to be able to live his dream is really what it stands for me. And that's what I do now.
And there's another hit. Barry Bonds.
We out of here, baby. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So when did Shaun become free?
Well, it depends on the aspect. When we're talking about financial freedom, then I would say I started seeking that really when I was in college. I would say it was really when things really started hitting about the idea of financial freedom, the concept of free enterprise, being able to, go after your own dreams and really hit it. I had always wanted to do it, but in college is when it really started. And then when the market changed about 2008, I was in the real estate business and the market changed, and that's how I got into youth development and the things that I do now. And that was really when I, stepped and said, okay, look, we're not going back to doing anything else. We're not punching any clocks. We're not doing any of that. And that's kind of where the journey took off.
He's like, no more corporate, no more top ramen. We doing this. That's kind of hard to do in college, because I feel like the college does not prepare you to be financially free. They really prepare you to be in the system, like being a working employee. So like, how did you do that? Like, because I can't imagine. Who put you on the game? How does one do that in college?
Well, it was tough. I never forget one day I was sitting in my dorm room. And like a lot of college students, I mean, you're broke, you don't have any money, and you're trying to figure out how to hustle. And I'll never forget, I had an apple. This is what I had left in my room. I had an apple. I had a couple crackers. I had a can of that cheese spray that's in the can. Comes out like Cool Whip. I had that, and I had a donut. That was all I had left to eat. And I was just like, man, it's got to be better. It's got to be a different way. It's like, this is not working. My pop wasn't going to send no care packages. He told my mom not to send no care packages. Like, buddy's on his own. And so what I did, I met a gentleman that started talking to me about the free enterprise system and about being able to build my own business. And that was where it started. And so I started creating, products and things to start building. And that was where things started happening. It was tough. I mean, because, didn't really have a lot of money. I was always trying to get money from my parents to be able to invest and do things. And that was difficult because I didn't come from a wealthy family. At least my mother wasn't. And so, but that's where it built. It was just tough, and just built it hard.
Yeah, I love that. That's a story, and we're gonna go into that journey a little bit. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now. So, like, I heard the youth development in there. So give us a little snapshot of what you're doing now.
So right now, it's everything I do is into youth personal development. So we have Camp Warrior King, which is a summer camp designed to expose kids to activities they normally wouldn't experience during the school year. You Can Have It All youth conferences, which is what we do. It goes all over the country and around the world until everything happened with the pandemic. You Can Have It All youth magazine, which is the only motivational magazine for youth of its kind in the world. Team Hott SAWCE success stacks, which are cards, which are words and phrases designed to build a child's self-efficacy, their self-confidence, and their belief that they can do something.
I love that. Team Hott SAWCE.
yeah, Hott SAWCE. Yeah, SAWCE.
I got hot sauce in my bag.
I
Team
got hot sauce in my bag.
Wow.
That's right. Yes, sir. And with that, and just so that's where we are right now. Where we are right now is with those things. That's what we do.
Like, how did you come up with this concept? Like, how did this baby of yours start?
Well, the thing is, I never really wanted to work with kids originally. I had no passion to work with youth, none whatsoever. I couldn't stand kids, and and here we are. And I couldn't stand kids, man. I just didn't have a, it was like, I didn't want kids, and then it was like, I was one of those, you feel like if a kid touches you, you're gonna have kids all of a sudden, it's like, so I didn't want any kids. I didn't want to be bothered, but I started to see the need and what was going on. The first thing I started was a self-defense program for women and children. I had always been in the martial arts since I was a kid. And so when the market changed, like I said, back in 2008, I couldn't get deals closed. It was hard for me to make things work. So a buddy of mine said, man, we should start teaching self-defense classes, make some money. And I was like, all right, well, that makes some sense because I got to pay these bills. And that was kind of what started it. And from there, I started to see that there were so many youth that didn't have personal development skills. They didn't have self-confidence. They didn't have focus. They were distracted. They were dealing with issues at home that were affecting them in school, and which would in turn affect them in life. And there was a huge, huge need, which I took for granted and thought somebody else was taking advantage of, that somebody else was doing it. Yeah. And there's just not enough people. I mean, even today, there's not enough people focusing on developing youth, and it's a big need. So what I did is I carved out an area. I was okay, well, I'm gonna focus on this, and that's what we did.
Yeah, I agree with you because like I told you earlier, like I'm in that space as well. And, I will always make time to go back to inner city schools, talk to youth, do some workshops, events, speaking, job, career development, personal development, the story of you, like really honing in on those skills. And what do you say to those people that say, well, that's the parents in the school system job to do that? Like, what would you say to people that say that?
Well, they're right. It is the parents' job and the teacher's job. But the thing is that it's not enough. And, some of the parents don't know how to do it either. Yeah. You'd be surprised how many parents will come to a workshop or see the things we're doing, and they'll say, oh, man, I never did that. Or, no, man, I didn't know that. Right. And a lot of times people take for granted that it's the parents' job. And it is the parents' job. But the parents still, in this society with so much going on, for example, if you're a single parent, and you're working all day long, you're trying to just make sure you put food on the table, man, you're trying to make sure you get some rest and that your kids are straight. It's very hard to do the additional aspect of developing them as much as well. And if in 2-parent households, it's still the same way. It's a lot going on. So yeah, it is the responsibility of the parents more so than it is the administrators in the schools. The schools are taking a beating right now because they're having to raise children. Right, they're having to raise these kids. They're having to bring sticks of deodorant to school because the kids is coming to school musty because their parents ain't giving them no deodorant. They're having to bring toothbrushes and talking to young girls about their cycles and all this stuff that's going on because it's not happening at home. The reality is that it takes a village to raise a child. And that village, especially in the Black community, has been I don't want to say attacked because it's far after attack. It's always been under attack, but right now it's just really succumbing to the pressures of society, and it's not developing the youth the way they need to be. And if we don't do something about it, what's going to happen is that we're just going to have a generation of children that are going to go to school and go to prison, go to school and go to prison, go to school and go to prison, or not be as successful as they could be if they had some self-development skills.
Yeah. That's so true. And I will add to that and say, even like sometimes the parents don't know because their parents were in survival mode, right? So they didn't pass anything on of worth to be able to teach you, all these coping mechanisms or professional development things because they only know what they know.
Right. Suck it up, keep going.
Yeah. I'd say community of different folks to pour into the youth and our own community so that we can learn and grow together and be stronger.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate that. So let's go into your journey, man, because I always like to take the steps. I always like to go back a little bit because, sometimes people hear your story or they hear about you and they hear all this and they're like, oh, yeah, but my man had it. He had it from day one. He
Right.
And not realizing that, he got it from the bud, or even if he didn't get it from the bud, there was some things he had to go through to get to where he was at.
Absolutely.
And so, like, I like to ask people this question because it puts something in perspective to let people know that, one, just because he's this successful entrepreneur now and he has his business didn't mean that's how it started. So, what was your first job?
My first job.
Yeah.
My first job was vacuuming floors for my mother and her cleaning service. And we were living in the hood when that started.
Wow.
Definitely from the mud. And proud of it, truthfully, very proud of it. Didn't like it growing up as a kid, right? We didn't like being labeled poor. And I say labeled poor because we weren't poor. And there's a big difference. Labeled poor is look at those kids in the housing projects in the inner city or whatever. That's labeled poor, right? But we weren't poor. And the reason why we weren't poor is we always had something to eat. We always had clothes on our back. We always had shoes on our feet. There were times we didn't have a place to live, but we always had shelter. Poor is like the kids we taking care of in Uganda, East Africa, in our orphanage. You can have it all orphanage where they don't even have shoes and they're sleeping on dirt, right? That's poor. So so with that, my first job was vacuuming floors and taking out trash. My mother's cleaning service, I would do that on the weekends or after school. My mother's people that were working with her wouldn't show up, which was often because some of them are alcoholics or crack addicts or whatever, because she was getting whoever she could to help her clean these houses because she started getting contracts in these rich white neighborhoods. And so then when they didn't show up, the job still had to be done. So I would end up going 6, 7 years old, and my sister would end up going. Mind you, again, I say 6 or 7 years old because that was what it was. And that was where the work ethic came from. All these child labor laws they got now where a kid got to be 15, 16 to work is I'll say hogwash since we but that we was working early. But that was the first thing I did. That was the first job I had.
What were some lessons that you would say you learned from that, from being exposed at a young age? Obviously hard work, right?
That was what fueled my dream. That was the beginning of fueling my dream because my mother used to walk me up and down. We used to live on Pike in Seattle, and she would walk the apartments we lived in. Down the street was this car dealership, and it had like all kind of Bentleys and Ferraris like encased in glass, right? It wasn't like this huge lot. And so when she would walk me down to preschool, we walked past there and she'd say, you can have one of those one day. Do you believe you can have that? And so that started fueling my dream. And then we would go to clean these houses, people that get typically, they have people come to clean their houses are in an affluent class, right? They have a little bit extra money than what we did. So these people had like pools in their basement of the house, like for real swimming pools. They had elevators in their home and all this stuff. So going to clean these houses made me curious. Who are these people? How are these people able to do this? Wow, they got a high-tech garbage disposal, whatever they would have in their homes. And by vacuuming and cleaning their floors and seeing their houses and seeing their kids' rooms, it made me believe that I could do it too. And then when I would meet the people, I never met a person that wasn't nice. They were always very nice. These super wealthy people, and they were always very nice. They were always like, man, you can have this too. Hey, you like that pool? Man, hey, Shaun, you can have one of those. Even though I'm a little black boy cleaning their house, sweeping their floors, they're like, man, you could do that. And so that was the blessing, because they could have said, you'll never have this. They could have said, you're always going to be in this place, but they didn't.
And I leave that as a mindset of abundance. Like I remember something from Rich Dad Poor Dad, how like the poor dad is always saying like, oh, we can't afford that, and the rich dad is saying, how can we how can we
afford it? Yeah,
how can we afford it? So like let's we can have that. How can we do that?
We can do that.
Like, whereas the poor dad's like, we can't. And this is point blank period. There's no room to expand your mind and think about how to get it, right?
Right. And the rich dad's like, no, how can we get it? And it's all a matter of mindset. It's all a matter of mindset. It's not allowing the circumstances that are in front of you to stop you from where it is that you want to go. I had a single mother. She was raising 2 kids. She was battling depression. She was battling being heartbroken by the men in her life. We were living in the hood. I mean, you talking about gang violence. I mean, you're from DC. You live in San Diego. And when we were growing up, right, gang violence was completely different. I mean, you were almost afraid because drive-bys was a lot more prevalent than what it is now. Right. I mean, you see it all the time. And that's what we were growing through. I mean, I came up in an era where crack first hit. And so you saw people who you would see the man that, at the barbershop, or a man that worked the job, and he was a very strong looking man. And then once crack hit and he got on that pipe, man, all of a sudden he looked like a zombie. And it was a very scary thing to see the transformation in the Black community of what happened to the people that we loved and respected, and the bullets that were flying past all over the place, and you had to survive through that. So when they start talking about, so when people say, well, I don't know if I can make it, I'm like, man, you can make it through anything. If you're willing to press and fight through it, you can make it through anything, because just our culture, we've made it through so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I grew up in DC when it was the murder capital. And I remember people who weren't from DC that come to visit DC, they think of the White House and they see downtown DC, all the glitz and glamour. And then you go 2 blocks and make a wrong turn around the corner and end up in Southeast DC. I'm talking about old Southeast DC, not the DC that it is today. And they're like, oh my gosh, what happened? Like, I'm in a war zone. There's a crack needle there. There's a baby in diapers. It smells like busy hallways. Like what happened? Down the street from the White House? Like,
yes.
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
Funny you noticed that. Absolutely.
You happened to drive the wrong direction. You were supposed to go east you were supposed to go west instead of going east. And so that's how you landed here.
That's right. How you doing?
This is the side, the other side live. You might want
the other
side.
Right, before we tell you to run that car. Right.
You might want to be parked right there.
Right. Absolutely.
So, definitely resonate with everything you're saying. And so I'm glad people got that backstory so they can see, all the things that helped you become the person you are today, which makes you kind of, I know you didn't want anything to do with kids, but kind of makes you a really good advocate for a youth program like this because of the things you've seen, the things you've been through, and things you grew through. Yeah. I know we say this is needed in every city and every hood, and somebody's probably going to be inspired by this hearing you. So, specifically, I know you gave us the overview steps of entrepreneurship, but
Mm-hmm.
what were the steps you took to kind of, build a program like this in your area, in your city, your neighborhood, or just in general?
The steps, I mean, there are a lot of steps. I mean, first of all, the challenges never stop, right? And I think that that's one thing that anybody listening should understand, especially if they're going to get in business. The challenges never stop. There's always going to be a challenge. There's always there's always a hurdle that you're going to have to jump over. And the people that end up doing that and doing that well are the ones that become successful. And your level at which you're able to do that consistently is what determines your level of success, because there's always going to be a series of challenges. And that's what makes people either settle, right, and say, hey, man, okay, I got to this level. I'm good right here because I don't want to deal with any more problems. Or make people keep going higher. Okay, I can deal with more challenges. I can overcome more hurdles. Or they say, you know what, I can't do this at all. Hey, let me go back to, it was nice over there on the other side. It was nice just being able to get that check and I could go and, have a beer and watch the football games and, do whatever. It's cool. There's always challenges. With me, there, like I said, there was levels to it because I kept looking for a need and then we kept finding the need. And so with that, we kept building, a program or a business that fit that need. I didn't have a background in education. I didn't have a background in working with youth. So there was so much I didn't know. So I had to learn. I mean, I had to read tons and tons of books. I was online trying to figure out how to get answers to things. And that was what would help me. And a lot of trial and error, a whole lot of trial and error. We're in an era now where we are taking so many online classes. We're looking at so many courses online, and everybody's getting all this information, which is great, but they're not applying it. I mean, it's only so long you can be on somebody's master class. You're on there for like 9 hours. At some point, you got to go and use everything they done taught you, or it's not going to work. You'll never get the success if you're not using it. So, I mean, the steps I took, first of all, was just making a decision. The first step was making a decision. You make a decision, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it. And that's just it, period. And it's whatever comes, going to come. I'm going to figure it out. But the first step is making that decision.
Yeah.
And things start to happen from there.
Would it be safe to say that in entrepreneurship, that's pretty much what it is? Always finding, maybe not even innovative ways, but always solving problems, like, right? A sign of a good entrepreneur, like.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Having resilience in the wherewithal to navigate.
Absolutely. Always solving problems. You got to solve problems. You got to have resilience because you're going to get knocked down. You're going to get shaken up. Sometimes you're going to get knocked down before you even get out of your door to go get started. Because sometimes you wake up in the morning and the thoughts in your head are going to start swirling around and almost try to stop you from doing what it is you need to do. Right. Just from knocking out those tasks you need to knock out during the day. And so that's definitely a key. But it's very basic things that people hear all the time. But I think they're always looking for, like, give me the secret sauce, but there is no secret sauce to success. I mean, you're talking about hard work, not giving up is probably the biggest thing. Is not quitting on what it is that you want to do. Because the reality is, if you want it bad enough, something you really want bad enough, what's going to happen? You're either going to do that thing, or along the way, you're going to find something else that you want that's either similar to that path or something that you want more, and then you're going to do that. So if people say, well, I want to be a football player, I never became a football player. Okay, well, what did you become? And what did that path of becoming a football player prepare you to do for what it is that you're doing now? Did you not become it because you quit? Did you not become because you went all the way through and you didn't get drafted? Okay, that's fine. But all those skills and talents and everything you got behind there is preparing you for something in the future, something great that you can still do. If you hang on to the fact that you didn't become whatever you thought it was you wanted to become before, you're not looking at the future, man, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's another good thing that entrepreneurs do, because they know when to pivot. They know when whatever the vision was needs to change, because it's not the solution that's needed for the future, or it's not the thing that's needed for what the future is calling for you to do, whether it be consumers, people, the time frame, whatever, right?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes it's like it's a great idea, but it's not for right now. It's for
Yeah.
later. A perfect example of that are our characters. The Team Hott SAWCE. Team Hott SAWCE. You see one of the characters on my hat. They
Love
can't
it,
see
love
it,
it.
the audience, but one of the characters. But one of the characters we first drew over 10 years ago and had no idea what we were going to do with that character. It was over 10 years ago. And it sat for years, right? Until a time like right now. But if we had a drew it and I'd have looked at it and did all that and said, oh, it's not working, forget it, then these years down the road, you wouldn't have had it, right? Some things that you do are not for right now. Some things you do it for years down the road, but it's building blocks, right? I mean, it's building blocks. You're building a foundation. You don't know what it is. I mean, people, I don't know what everybody's faith is listening, but you don't know what it is that God got planned for you in your life. You don't know what it is that you're really supposed to be doing. You know what you want to path. And the thing is that some of the things that you did at 15 are going to prepare you for what you're going to do at 25. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
I was in martial arts at 6 years old. At 6, hated going. Didn't want to have to walk down the street off of Yesler Boulevard, have to walk down the street to go to the Boys and Girls Club to go do martial arts. Didn't want to do it. But if I wouldn't have done that, right, you talk about 20-something years later, end up taking those skills that I've been developing over the course of my life, and that's what helped me get through so that I wasn't somewhere and not being able to provide for myself.
Yeah, so true. I there's some things that I experienced early on in my career that I thought was pointless and failures, and those failures turned out to be lessons and teachable moments for later on in life that I was able to use. I was like, man, I was being prepared for this. Like, there's a big aspect of my life like that prepared me for everything that I'm doing in the equity, diversity, inclusion space and workforce development program space that like is just blueprints of my life that's being applied over here in a different aspect. And it's like blows my mind. It's like, this is my life. Like, this is my life. Life has prepared me literally for all of this.
For all of this. That's right. That's right, bro. That's right. Sure.
You strike me as somebody who just has like a very rich life. I gotta ask this question. What's one good lesson that life has taught you?
One good lesson is that happiness is key.
Ooh, break that down.
Happiness is key. So the success is relative. Okay. And pretty much this is when you like a plug for the book, right? So the book the book is coming out.
The book is coming, y'all. The book is coming.
The book is here. Well, it's just released over the holidays, but it's Be Unstoppable, Living Life. But the premise is that success is relative. So one person's idea of success is totally different from another person's idea of success. And that you can create your own idea of what success is. That's what freedom is all about. So when you talk about success, success is a whole pie perspective and not just one slice. We're told that success, a lot of times is money, right? And in a community, it's money, cars, clothes, they go down to money, cars, clothes, and the other aspect, right? When in reality, success is so much more. Success is, you could be a millionaire, but if you have poor health, it's hard to really consider yourself successful. If you have a lot of money, but you don't have any friends to enjoy it with, you're not really successful. You're not really happy. If you have a lot of friends, but you're always broke, that ain't cool either, right? Or to have bad health. So the whole thing is success is relative, but ultimately what we're really all looking for is happiness in whatever state we're in. You can have less money than what people think is cool, but be able to create a happy lifestyle for yourself, and you will love your life every single day you wake up, man. Whether you have a job or you got a business, you wake up, man, you put your clothes on, you go to the job, you work at, let's say, a plant, for example. You go to work at that plant, you enjoy the relationships with the people you work with. You come home, you get to go watch the ball game, drink your beer, whatever it is that you want to do, go to bed with the person you're in love with, be able to play with your kids if that's what you want to have, go to sleep and wake up the next day and do it again. And that person is extremely happy. They're the happiest person in the world. True happiness. On the flip side, you could be a person that says, man, I want to be financially wealthy, right? And you're striving to get that financial wealth. The key is to enjoy the process and not say that happiness is when I get the money, which is one of the mistakes that people make. Some people going on the road to success are some of the most depressed people in the world because they don't realize that the journey is part of what should make you happy, not necessarily getting to the place, right? So, but let's say you get to that place and you have the money you want. You can travel around the world the way you want. You can buy the clothes you want. You can send your kids to the schools you want to go to. You have the health that you want. That's your happiness. and that is perfectly okay. These two people can coexist.
Yeah.
And everybody can be happy living their own life, right? And so happiness is the key. It's finding that place where you're happy. Yeah.
I'm in love with the journey. One of my friends used to say that to me. I'm in love with the journey, and I'm in love with the journey now. It's taught me a lot. I can't wait for this book to come out of yours. I'm definitely going to pick up a copy and read it.
Yes, sir. Sure.
You know, everything you said resonated with me because there's some of that reminded me of a saying that I have when I go out and speak to the youth. And now you might inspire me to turn it into a book. But I tell people, I say, do what you love what you do. Don't chase the money. Let the money chase you.
Absolutely.
And what I mean by that is, college grew me to and counselors and teachers, take this career path because it's stable and you're gonna make money and you're gonna be happy and it sold me on that white picket fence dream. And then I did that, and it was when I got into the career, it was the most miserable time of my life, right? Like the corporate ladder, and then I saw people who made it to the top of the corporate ladder, how miserable they was. Their family lives a mess. They drinking. And I was like,
yeah,
hey, that's not what I want. The values was all out of whack.
Right.
The company's values didn't align with my values. I was like, all right, this is not it. And then I got off that train. And I was like, I got to find, where my happiness is. Where's that sweet spot? And then once I did,
absolutely,
things started to turn around for me in a different way. Like, I did chase a career for me. I found things that I was happy doing it in the spirit of happiness with the people that I kind of enjoyed doing it with. And then opportunities started to show up one after another. And the money started to flow through, faster than I could spend it. And I wasn't even chasing it. I remember the first time somebody asked me to come speak, they was like, how much would it cost for you to come speak? I was like, damn, you would pay people? People get paid to speak? I don't know. I get paid, right?
Right.
I was like, wait, you would have paid more? Like,
paid more?
Like, all right, I'm doing this all wrong.
Right. Like, bet. All right, yeah.
Yes, sir. I appreciated everything you said about happiness, and I'm glad that you preaching that to the choir, and it's getting out there, because I think we need that in our community. And then once we start to realize that, we can make some real changes in ourselves and in our community. So.
Absolutely. Man, I mean, with kids going after dreams, man, there's nothing wrong with them going after whatever dream that they want to go after. And you want them to have that dream, and people, should have dreams and aspirations and goals. The thing is, like you said, is enjoying that journey, enjoying that process. That's the fun of it, really. That's the story of your life. I mean, once you get the thing, I mean, think about it. How many times have you bought something, and then once you get it, the whole excitement of it kind of goes away after a while. And so then you have to go after another dream, right? And then you're on that journey to go after that other dream. It's just, there's always curves and turns on the journey.
Yeah. So what would you, so somebody's going to be listening to this and they're like, yeah, Shaun, I hear what you're saying. I want to be free like you. I want to be happy too. What was some advice you would give to somebody who wants to get on that journey, on how to get started on that journey? Like what would you give them as advice?
A couple things. Number one, have more confidence in yourself and your own ideas. Have confidence in yourself and your own ideas. Believe in the power of your own ideas, the ideas that come to your mind. Believe that you have a genius level talent, and that the ideas that come to you are genius level, regardless of how crazy they seem to you or to other people. Watch the friends that you're around. Right. Who is it that you're associating with? What are your friends telling you? If you're around people and they're telling you that you can't do something, they're telling you that your ideas are crazy, they're telling you that you'll never do what it is that you're saying to do, whether it's homeboys, homegirls, it's best friends you've known for years, relatives, whatever, you got to separate yourself from those people. You can still love them, but it's love them from a distance, right? I love you. We still cool, but when you get to that point, you get to popping off about what ain't going to happen for me. That's when the conversation's over. That's when I'm going this way. Watch the friends, watch the environment you're around. Environment being just, what are you taking in through your eye gates, your ear gates? What are you taking in? So what are you looking at on social media? Is it making you feel better when you get off or making you feel worse? What are you listening to? Does that music make you feel better when you stop listening to it, or does it make you feel worse? What are you seeing on TV? When you get finished looking at it, does it make you feel better? Does it make you feel worse? Does it inspire you to go forward? Does it make you feel like, God, dog, man, they got all that, man, I'll never be like that. Those are the things that really, because that gets into your psyche, your subconscious every single day. Get you a set of affirmations, right, in your phone. Carry them. I got hundreds of them in my phone, things that I say to myself every single day, because we all, every person, every human being battles with low self-esteem, right? You feel good one day, then other days it's like, man, I don't know. And so those affirmations is what builds you up every single time, right? I am great. I'm smart. I'm this, I'm that. This will happen. This goal will come true, blah, 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 blah. Have a set of affirmations. Read. There is a reason why. There is a reason why when people conquer a country or a people, they burn the books. There is a reason. One of the reasons is they want to keep you ignorant, right? If you're ignorant and you don't know something, then you can't accomplish something. Whether you want to read a hard copy book or online, read and research. You have, and I'm on a tangent, but just this last point, I'm done.
This is a good one. Stay on it.
You got Google at your fingertips. You got the answers to everything. We had to go and look in books, encyclopedias, and try to find it, and it may not be there. We had to go research it. The very things you can look at and find the answer for in 5 minutes might have took us days or weeks to find, because the answer may not have been in the book. And then you have to ask somebody, and that person may not want to tell you, or they may have had misinformation. Read and research whatever it is that you want to do. Become an expert on whatever it is that you want to do. Get that knowledge. Get better. If you can't read, learn how to read. You can't read good enough, go back to school. There's no excuse, right? Get better. Those are the things that just doing those things right there will make a tremendous difference in your life.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Absolutely. I 1000%, because it messes with your psyche. Like, you gotta be really cognizant of the things that you consume and the thoughts you have, because you start to manifest those things, whether you believe in that or not. Like,
absolutely.
And that becomes your surroundings. I remember listening to Jay-Z doing an interview one time, talk about separating from certain people in his family. Like, he had an uncle that used to tell him, man, you'll never be big. You never sell 1,000 records. What do you think? You this person, you will never do this. And he's like, nah, I sold 1 million records a million times.
Yeah.
If he'd have continued to hang around that uncle and let him feed in this into his psyche, like, where he would have been, right?
Right, exactly. And that's like anybody with any story. Where would you be, or where will you be if you allow the people that are negatively influencing you to continue to stay in your life? Right? It's okay to unfollow people. It is totally okay to unfollow people on social media. It's okay to unfriend somebody. It's okay, because you have to man your own gate of your life. And if you're getting up and you're not feeling better, and what you're doing is not making you feel better, you're responsible for that. You're responsible for your own happiness. Nobody else can make you happy, and nobody else should be able to take your happiness away.
Love that. So what does the future look like? Specifically what you're doing in the niche of youth development, youth programs, and some of the things that you're doing. What does the future look like?
The future, it looks like continuing to expand the brand on a global scale.
Okay.
The thing is that motivation is a universal language, I believe.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is that everybody around the world wants happiness, even though it looks different to everybody. Right. But everybody wants to have a sense of happiness. So for us, it's moving the magazine around the world. It's getting youth around the world to be able to get the magazine, read it, be motivated and empowered by it, and be able to make change with it. Right. It's getting the characters in their hands so that they can see characters that may look like them and be inspired by it. But that's where it is, man. The future looks like getting around the world.
Future's looking bright. We going global.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah. Let's keeping it there. Yes, sir.
All
Absolutely.
Right. So I try to keep our podcast a good, short drive time. So let's close out with this. What projects are you currently working on, and where can the people find you? I know we got the book coming, so talk about the book too. Talk about the book. When's it coming, and any other projects you got going, and we'll go on that note.
Got you. So the magazine, You Can Have It All Youth Magazine, is it can pre-order starting today.
Okay.
For the magazine, they can just Google You Can Have It All magazine and go right to the website. Mm-hmm. Of course, they can always find me on Instagram. Please follow on Instagram for drops and prizes and stuff like that. It's SF Dreams Big is the IG. It's my personal IG that I use to push a lot of the stuff. And the Success Stacks. So the Success Stacks, they can't see it, but you can see it. Right. But these are Team Hott SAWCE Success Stacks.
Ooh,
what these are words and phrases that build a child's self-efficacy. And
for those who can't see it, it's a stack of cards. And like I said, next year when we put the YouTube channel up, you'll get all this.
They'll be able to see it. But when you see that card right there, it has a word of success. Uh-huh. And success is a noun. The definition is the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. And then it has an example of a sentence, right? Yeah. Success to me can be different for you, but we are both successful. Another one, success is a journey and not a single destination.
I love
so what a kid does is he take that, and the parent or their guardian will teach them the word success. They'll teach them to use it in a sentence. And the kid needs to go out throughout their day at school or wherever and use that word. They come back home, they talk about that word. How'd you use that word? I did it like this. I did it like that. And you give them a prize for it, right? And they build up all these different words in their vernacular. Right. They get all these words, right? Success, belief, perseverance, all that. And it's all about building their self-efficacy.
Right. And I love they're using like positive words because those positive words could be their own mantra of affirmations that they hear them.
There you go.
Every day. So I love that.
There you go. Yes, sir. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, man.
Book. Talk about the book.
The book, Be Unstoppable, Living Life, is a book for young adults, and it's all about creating your version of success and what that looks like and the things that are required to make that happen, because success is relative. Instead of being focused on just one aspect of success, having the whole pie, right? It's like instead of just having a chicken leg, having the whole chicken that you could be able to use and enjoy. Right. And so that's what the book is about. The book will be out here in the next couple weeks. You could be able to, it'll be posted right there on You Can Have It All magazine and on my IG, SF Dreams Big. And,
man, we need to get a pre-order so we can stock up.
We'll get you. We'll hook it up. we'll hook it up. We'll hook it up. And that's the third book. That's the third book.
Book. Oh, we got installments in this. We ain't playing.
Yeah, that's the third book. No, we're not playing. Yeah. The first two are on developing youth. This one is on developing yourself. What we realize is that adults need it. It's hard for the adults to teach their children if they don't have something in themselves to be able to use.
So true. So, man, this has been great. I'm gonna get all the links for those of you driving. Don't worry, I'm gonna get all the links, everything from my man, and put them into the show notes. SF Banks, Shaun is free. Great to have you on Rise Urban Nation today. Any last words for the people before we head out?
Man, go after your dreams. Don't let anybody stop you.
That's right. And there you go. Go after them dreams. And we out of here, baby.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Rise Urban Nation.
Thank you for taking the journey.
Be sure to like, comment, and smash that subscribe button. And stay connected with Terrell on and off the show. Follow at Rise Urban Nation on all platforms.
Do what you love what you do. Don't chase the money. Let the money chase you.